My phone vibrated against the nightstand at 6:58 a.m. I was already awake. I had been awake for an hour, staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet breathing beside me. Her hair was spread across my chest, warm, familiar. Wrong. The message preview lit up the room. Daniel, explain, now. I didn't move. I watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, reappear. Panic has a rhythm, fast, irregular, desperate. I slid out from under the sheets carefully so I wouldn't wake her, his wife, and walked toward the window. The city looked harmless in the morning light, soft, forgiving. I opened our chat and stared at the image I had sent 10 minutes earlier. Her head against my bare shoulder. Her hand resting on my chest. Intimate enough to wound, clean enough to deny. Beneath it, 4 words. Thanks for the upgrade. The call came seconds later. I answered but said nothing. His breathing filled the line. You think this is funny? He asked. His voice was tight, controlled, cracking underneath. I closed my eyes and let the silence stretch. No, I said quietly. I think it's fair. And then I hung up. 3 months ago, I would have begged that man for respect. Now I had taken something he didn't know how to defend. Certain. The night she left, she didn't cry. That's what unsettled me. She folded her clothes methodically, slid them into a suitcase like she was preparing for a conference, not dismantling a marriage. He makes me feel secure, she said. Secure, as if I had been instability. I stood in the doorway and watched her move through our bedroom. The same bedroom where she once whispered she'd never survive without me. He's decisive, she added. Confident. I nodded slowly. And I'm not? She looked at me with something colder than anger. You're comfortable, she said. Then she smiled faintly. He's a real man. There it was. Not shouted. Placed gently between us like a diagnosis. My boss, the man who praised my presentations, who invited us to dinner, who clapped my back and called me brother. The details replayed instantly. The lingering glances, the late strategy sessions, her sudden interest in his schedule. But the betrayal wasn't chaotic. It was curated. She didn't scream about unmet needs. She didn't accuse me of neglect. She simply recalculated her position and chose upward, or what she thought was upward. When she walked out with her suitcase, she didn't look back. I did. Not at her, at myself, trying to understand how I had become a man so easy to replacement. I didn't confront him. Men like Daniel prepare for emotional explosions. They thrive in them. So I gave him nothing. At work, I was steady, polite, productive. I congratulated him on closing a deal. I shook his hand. I let him believe I was broken. Then I started collecting. Expense reports flagged as client entertainment. Reimbursements for a downtown condo. Furniture billed through shell vendors tied to company accounts. He wasn't just sleeping with my wife. He was financing her. I requested archived access logs under the pretense of auditing workflow efficiency. Cross-referenced dates. Matched them with her social media posts. New couch, new view, new beginnings. Every smiling photo had a paper trail. Every caption had a cost. At night, alone in my apartment, I stared at spreadsheets instead of walls. Anger burned hot at first. But anger is sloppy. I let it cool into strategy. Then I drove to his house. I didn't rehearse what I'd say. I just knocked. The door opened slowly. Claire stood there. No surprise in her eyes. Only exhaustion. He's not here, she said quietly. I know. Her gaze searched mine. With her? I nodded. Her shoulders sagged. Not from shock, but confirmation. She stepped aside. Inside, the house felt staged. Perfect. Loveless. We sat across from each other in the kitchen. 2 people edited out of their own marriages. She poured whiskey with steady hands. I've known for months, she admitted. I just didn't have proof. I do, I replied. That changed something in her expression. Not hope. Alignment. We compared timelines. Lies. Excuses. They overlapped seamlessly. A double life stitched together with arrogance. We didn't talk about revenge. We talked about truth and what it costs to expose it. I sent the file anonymously to the board of directors. Detailed. Organized. Irrefutable. Misuse of company funds. Ethical violations. Conflict of interest. By Friday afternoon, Daniel was called into a closed-door meeting. I watched through the glass as his posture shifted. Confidence eroded in real time. By Monday, his access card failed at the entrance. Internal investigation announced. Whispers spreading. That evening, my wife appeared at my door. No makeup, no confidence. They're auditing him, she said. Freezing accounts. The condo, everything. I leaned against the frame and studied her. You knew, she whispered. It wasn't a question. Yes. Her eyes filled. You ruined him. I shook my head slowly. He built his life on theft, I said. I just turned on the light. She stepped closer. I left everything for him. There it was. Regret, raw and ugly. Not for me. For her miscalculation. You left because you thought he was stronger, I replied calmly. She searched my face for resentment. For rage. I gave her neither. That frightened her more than anger ever could. Claire called that night. He's begging, she said. Says it's all a misunderstanding. I almost laughed. We met for drinks. Not celebratory. Strategic. Two betrayed spouses discussing exit plans, divorce filings, asset protection, public statements. But pain does something strange to proximity. It accelerates intimacy. Not reckless, not chaotic, measured. When she touched my hand, it wasn't lust. It was recognition. We didn't pretend it was love. It was symmetry. The next morning, sunlight spilled across her bedroom. She lay against me, eyes open. He thought he was untouchable, she murmured. I picked up my phone. Took the photo. Her head on my chest. Peaceful. Claimed. I sent it without hesitation. Thanks for the upgrade. When he called, his voice broke. You crossed a line. I almost admired the audacity. No, I said quietly. I learned from you, and then I ended the call. He lost his job, his reputation, his carefully constructed dominance. Claire filed for divorce. Efficient. Precise. My wife still texts. Apologies wrapped in nostalgia. Memories used as leverage. I don't respond. Because I understand something now. She didn't leave for strength. She left for spectacle. And when the spectacle collapsed, she looked for something solid to stand on. I am solid, but I am no longer available. I don't hate them. Hate implies emotional investment. What I feel now is clarity. Cold. Sharp. Clean. She wanted a real man. So I became one. Not louder. Not crueler. Just unshakable. And the most powerful thing I ever did was stop needing to be chosen.